Okay. Chosen to close this for our privacy. There's no whole business to get involved in what we're talking about. All right, I'm an investigator. My name is Jason. I'm Detective Takis. You can call me Jason. Obviously, you know who you are. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I want to make sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you get that last message?
Yes.
About from Pete Bravo?
From Pete Bravo, yes. Yep. My phone's going to be vibrating every now and then because things that are going on here are kind of constantly evolving. So I want to apologize in advance for any interruptions as a result of this. So I want to explain everything to you. I want to go over your charges and make sure that you understand everything that's happening. I want really you to ask me some questions before I kind of get into what I want to get into to make sure that you are comfortable. Before I can do that, I have to read you your rights so that you're aware of what your rights are and what you can say and what you want to say. We're going to go through it line by line, and once we get done with that, I want to open the floor to you. You can ask me anything that you want to understand things better, and then we'll go from there. Okay, does that sound all right? Well, hold on one second. I want to grab a piece of paper that we need, and we'll get into it. Would you like to be called Charles? Yeah. This is the form that we use. Now, I know that you're an intelligent guy, so please forgive it. It's not an insult when I ask you to do this. Just read the first line aloud so I know you can read. And all you're going to do is, as you read these lines, just put your initials there. By putting your initials there, all you're saying is that you understand what you read. Right. Okay? So you just read the first one aloud and you can initial after that.
I have the right to remain silent.
Very good. All right. And the rest you can do on your own.
If I talk to any police officer, anything I say can and will be used against me. I have the right to consult with a lawyer before I answer any questions, and I may have a lawyer with me during questioning. I have the right to have a lawyer appointed for me if I cannot afford one before I answer any questions. I know that if I answer questions, I have the right to stop answering any time. I may stop answering questions anytime if I wish to talk with a lawyer, and I may have them with me during any further questioning. I'm going to answer questions and make a statement knowing that I have these rights. I do not want to.
Well, that's up to you to decide. I mean,
I know I understand what I'm doing. I do this freely and voluntarily, and no threats or promises have been made to me.
Because you initial, because you signed, does not mean that the floodgates open. It basically means that you're just going. I have to play by the rules. There's certain things that I have to do, and before I can even really open up a discussion with you, we got to do that. Now, first and foremost, are you aware of what your charges are? Have they been explained to you?
No.
You are? Okay. Do you
No.
No, you're not. Okay. The charges are criminal attempt to commit risk of injury to a minor, criminal attempt to commit sexual assault in the second degree, and enticing a minor. Those are the three charges, okay? Really, the first one is a misdemeanor. The last one is a misdemeanor. The most important charge, which is a felony in the state of Connecticut, the sexual assault second degree, is a felony. That's the more serious side of the three. Okay? And I am happy to explain to you how we arrived to these charges, if you want me to do so. If you want to start doing that. Okay. You obviously arrived at a house today to meet with somebody.
Right.
I have access and actually have on my phone when it was sent to me all the communication between you and that individual that you were believing to be meeting. Okay.
Believing? Right.
That you were believing to be based on your communications back and forth.
Right.
Obviously, you recall having communication with someone,
right.
And obviously you did arrive at this predetermined destination, right?
Right.
Okay.
But I didn't know it was under.
Based off of the communication between the two of you, that's how we arrive at where we are with these charges, because of the nature of your conversation, because the things that were said. Is it your understanding you were going there to see and talk to a 13-year-old?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that's kind of why. That's kind of why.
Intentional at all. I would never do that.
Okay. Very good. Well, that's kind of why I want you to sit down, I want to talk to you, because
Okay.
as of right now, this is what I have. I have that communication,
Right.
which at any time, if you want to see it, I can show it to you. I have that communication. I have you arriving at this house.
Mm-hmm.
I have the banter that occurred initially between the two of you.
Right.
And then obviously what happened immediately after, shortly
Right.
after. I have all that.
Right.
We have your vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
okay? The vehicle is here at the police department, and we are going, that's kind of the next step in the process. We're going to decide how we're going to approach your vehicle and looking inside it and seeing what is in there, okay?
Okay.
That's the next step. In addition to that, we have your phone,
Right.
and another step will be looking into the contents of your phone, apps, any communication between you and other people, this particular person that we're talking about now, and or any photos, things of that nature, we're going to be going through the phone. And I'll explain to you how we'll arrive at that as well. So these are really the steps that are going to be taken moving forward. All right. You just said that you would never go to meet someone that age.
Yeah.
I want to kind of leave it to you if that's the case, and
Yes.
just kind of walk me through how you arrived there and what your intentions were.
I thought he
and how
told
you
me
started.
he was 18.
Okay.
And-
So you thought you were meeting an 18-year-old?
Yeah, because I was downstairs on my couch. I was at my eye doctor yesterday. I wear contacts. So my eye got scratched. So I can't wear my contacts. So I'm wearing these glasses. And I was downstairs having a cup of coffee, and my glasses were upstairs. And I'm looking. I thought he said 18. I swear to God, I would never, ever in my entire life meet a 13-year-old. I could say to my own self, it's disgusting.
Okay.
Right? That's not, So consenting adults is a different story.
I would
You know.
I absolutely agree with you.
Consenting adult, and
And at 18 years old, obviously that's a consenting adult and something that you would feel comfortable with. Is that fair to say?
what?
Is it fair to say?
Oh yeah, 18 or above.
18 or above,
Right,
that's,
right.
that's something
They're-
that's
they can
consenting
make their
adult,
own-
and they're old
Right.
enough to make that decision,
Right.
and you would feel comfortable with that. And obviously, a scenario like that, you would have no concern about law enforcement or anything like that being involved in such a scenario, right?
Well, they're capable of making their own decisions.
Right. But so there's no
Right, I would never.
in a situation like that. There's no law enforcement.
I would never
concern.
commit. I would never do anything to the crime.
Okay. How did you get in touch with this particular person today? What did you?
I think he got in touch with me.
Okay. Well, how did you guys connect?
On an app. Called Grindr.
An app called Grindr. Okay. Is that something that you've used before?
Yeah.
It is. Okay. And I mean, when did you start using it? Have you had? Has it been something that's worked for you in the sense where
6 months
it's
ago.
helped you
Yeah.
meet people that you want to meet? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm single.
Okay. So, have you met other people utilizing this app that you've ultimately met with and either had conversations with
Yeah,
or
I've had
relations
conversations
with?
with a lot of
or-
people. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Socially and.
Okay. The one issue that we're kind of running into right now. Again, I told you that I have access to the communication, right?
Yeah.
And you made it very clear about your feeling as far as being with someone who's, I guess, underage or a minor.
Absolutely.
What would you consider to be underage or a minor as far as having some type of
Anybody under 18.
anyone under 18?
Yeah, absolutely.
The issue that I'm having with that, and look, one of the things I really don't want to do, I don't want to get into this situation where we're doing like a tit for tat, where we're going like line by line through this whole thing. I really just want to talk to you. I don't want
Yeah.
My goal is not to embarrass you or belittle you or do the typical cop thing that you see on TV where they're like, look, it's right here. I don't want to get involved in that. The situation is what it is. We have arrived here and we need to deal with it now. Okay. But to maybe get past this first hurdle, to maybe allow that to happen more, I want to read something to you. And maybe you can explain it to me.
Sure.
Maybe if you want me to, I can break it down, but I want to try to avoid that. So how do you like Grindr? you ask,
Right.
and the person answers. They mention that they've been kicked off a few times, and you ask why.
Right.
Why have you been kicked off? They respond, simply age. Then you write back, how old are you? They respond back, swear you won't report me. You respond, of course not.
I mean, people are going to report other people on
Right,
that.
right. No, I get what you're saying. Right. So he says, "You swear you won't report me," and you say, "Of course not." I mean, I wouldn't. I'm just talking. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't need to do that. Right. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's, of course not. That's kind of what that was. He writes back, 13. And I can show you.
I can show you if you want to see.
It says 13.
I can't read that.
Okay.
But I thought it said 18.
It says 13.
Okay.
And that's fine. That's fine. You're almost a neighbor, laugh out loud. So what are you looking for here? Blah, blah, blah. And then you go into some other things, which, again, we can kind of go back to that. The one issue I'm having with your answer regarding, the 18,
Right.
because we just went over it, if you thought they were 18, you would have no concerns.
No, because I wouldn't, some people, they say they're 18 and they're not.
Right. So, if you thought they were 18, and that's obviously a situation that you feel comfortable with, if you thought that read 18,
I've gone as far as to ask them for their driver's license.
there would be no reason for you to ask this then.
Right.
Are you a cop or involved in law enforcement? They respond back, laugh out loud, really? And you write back, gotta be careful.
Right. I would never.
They write back, yeah man, I get it. So, the problem you're going to have with your explanation is, if you thought legitimately that the person was 18, and you thought that you read the number 18, at that point, from what you just said in your mind, you're really alleviated of any concerns about dealing with a minor or anything like that.
That's true. Because, again, people could say they're 18 and they're not.
But you didn't say that. You just asked, after finding out, after the age was written, which was 13, you're claiming 18.
Right.
After that number was written,
Yeah.
you move forward with some other back and forth, which I can read. I'm looking to get away from that.
Okay.
So then you clearly write.
But I
Are
do
you
that
law
with
enforcement or a cop?
I do that with everybody because
I don't understand
why
why-
be in trouble with anybody.
I don't understand why you would write that or be concerned about that if in fact you thought you read the number 18. It would be really that from what we just talked
Because
about. That
18
should
is
be
still,
that should be. No, it's not. You clearly said that it was not. That 18 and above, they're a consenting adult, and there's no issues there. You clearly you just said
as
it.
long as they're not misrepresenting themselves.
Misrepresenting, right? But you didn't. That's not what you wrote. That's not what you
No.
said. That was not part of any of your back and forth. Your next step after a few back and forths is, are you law
I would've-
enforcement or are you a cop?
When I walked in, I immediately was going to say, "You got on 18. You got on 18." And he asked me to bring some porn and stuff like that. So I said, when I said I was having a good point, I was out of there. There was no way
Okay.
I was going to
Well,
get involved in that situation.
In your messages, you said you were going to bring it.
I did. It was in the car.
Right. What kind of what is in the car? What did you bring?
It was a DVD.
And what's on the DVD?
Porn.
What type?
Just regular gay porn.
Regular gay porn?
Yeah.
Is it underage gay porn or is it
No.
adult? It's adult gay porn. And I want
Amateur.
you-
I think it was amateur stuff.
It's amateur stuff. But what the people depicted on there, are they adults or are they underage?
They're not underage.
They're not underage. Okay.
I take it out.
Okay. The problem that you're going to have, Charles, I'm not afraid to tell you, okay? One man to another, one person to another, one adult to another, is when you read these messages and you go through them line by line very carefully and you read them, your explanation does not match. Because if you truly believed that you were going to meet with an 18-year-old person, like you just said,
Right.
there would be no second thoughts, concerns about whether or not the person that you're dealing with is law enforcement or involved with law enforcement. But you clearly not only ask the question, but then you kind of double tap it because you say you got to be careful.
Yeah, because
you got to be careful.
I don't want to do anything wrong.
Well, that's kind of why we're here, Charles.
I don't want to do anything wrong.
What people want to do sometimes, maybe what they intend. I don't want to get crazy with that, but at the end of the day, you did do something wrong today, and we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that somehow, some way. We have to deal with that. You're going to have to explain it better, and/or you're going to have to come to grips with the fact that you're here. This is why you're here, and we got to deal with it now. You got to deal with it now, because if you choose not to, you're not really. You know, a writer writes the story, an artist paints the picture. In this scenario, I want you to tell the story. I want you to write it. But if you don't, and you stick with what you're telling me, you're kind of forcing us, as law enforcement, as the investigators, to dive into this now, to dive into your phone, to dive into your car, to dissect these messages. And then once you do that, now you're kind of forcing us to do our jobs, and forcing us to, you know, present these facts, okay, that maybe don't put the proper spin on the story that it needs to have, okay? Because the way we look at a lot of these cases, people will get involved in circumstances like you're in now. A lot of these people, they just need help. They have a problem. It's almost like an addiction in many ways. They're attracted to something they know is not right. They know it's not healthy. They know it's not legal. But they can't help themselves.
I'm telling you right now, gentlemen, next week, you're a gentleman to me, I've been a gentleman with you. I have never been with anyone that's underage, anyone under the age of 18.
Would this have been the first? Would this have been the first time?
No, because he said he was 18. That's what I read.
Okay. Well, it says.
I know it says 15.
It says.
I have my glasses on. 13. I would have shut right down. I would have blocked him right then and there.
Okay. But then why ask if he's involved in law enforcement?
I do that all the time because I get afraid with 18-year-old kids that represent themselves at 18. It's happened to me before, and they're not 18.
Yeah, but you don't write that. You don't write, hey, look, are you sure that's your age? You don't even question it. The age is written. It's not even like, are you sure? Or I've been down this road before. Or
no, I've not been down this road.
No. Whatever you want to write. I've had people lie to me before. Are you sure? How do I know it? Yeah. There's nothing like that. The age is thrown out there, and then look, and I'll read it. I mean, this is what's going to happen at the end of the day anyway. I mean, this is how it's going to be perceived. And
I mean, Chris Hansen is actually, I know him. He's a friend of mine. I commuted on the train for years. And that's more of an embarrassment than anything. But
so how do you like grind? It's cool, but I've been kicked off a few times. Why? They write back age. You respond back with, how old are you? Swear you won't report me. Of course not, you write. They write just 13. You write back, you're almost a neighbor. Laugh out loud. So what are you looking for here, you ask? Really just chatting or whatever. I like whatever. Laugh out loud with one of those. They respond back with, yeah. And you respond back with, yeah. What have you done so far? I've had sex with my ex-girlfriend. Nothing with a guy. You write back, gotcha, but you like guys better now. Never tried it, but being with my girlfriend was really awkward. You write back, I get it. You write back, maybe you need a good teacher. Yeah, you know one, they respond. You're talking to them, laugh out loud, you write. Laugh out loud, really? You write back simply, yes. So are you just bi or gay? School is in session, you write. More gay, but also somewhat bi. Do you watch porn, you ask. Yeah. You ask, what do you like to watch? What do you like, they ask. You respond, mostly gay porn and some bi porn. What do you watch, you ask again. Sweet. I like gay porn, DP, and ATM. You ask, what's ATM? You write back, DP is so hot. Ass to mouth. They're explaining what ATM means. Right. You write back, you're getting me hard, laugh out loud. Again, you ask, what is ATM? And then right back. Yes, DP is hot. They're right back. And then you respond, so do you think you're more of a on top? I don't know. I'm willing to learn it. Can you get away? So do you think you're more of on top of a... You want to get away. Okay. So, I mean, well, we're going down this road, and then we get to...
I'm thinking I'm talking to an 18-year-old.
Right. We get to the law enforcement. Are you a cop or involved in law enforcement? If you think you're talking to an 18-year-old person, why are you asking them? Why would you ask them?
I watch TV.
Yeah, but what's to be concerned about? What is the issue if it's an 18-year-old person? Like you said, it's a consenting adult. Why would you even be concerned about that?
Because I'm super careful. That's all. And I would never be really touching on anybody. I mean, really. That's not. I could show you that I was at my ophthalmologist yesterday, an eye doctor, that I was scratching my head as to why I'm wearing these glasses and why I didn't see that correctly. But you can, I mean, you would never find anything like that in a conversation with a 13-year-old on my phone. Ever.
You understand that by reading this, that's not how this reads. It's clearly in there. It's clearly in there. 13. You're not. You don't even.
I didn't respond to it because I didn't read it.
As soon as it's written 13, you just continue on with wants and me and talk about what you want to do and what he likes and what you like. You go right. You go right past it.
I thought 18. I just have to keep talking. I mean, 13, I'd be gone.
And then as you get close to the part where we're going to start meeting and it's starting to get maybe a little bit more real, we get to, are you law enforcement? Are you a cop? And
I've seen Chris's show before, so
I understand you've seen Chris's show before.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is the way this is played out, and you're here and you're being charged with these things, and you arrive at this person's house, and you never at any point in time question the age or the number after it was sent to you.
That's why
And you just
as soon as I saw him, I was leaving. He did not look even 18.
You didn't leave after meeting him. You didn't leave immediately upon laying eyes on him. That's not how it happened.
He had me at the water.
After some
He
brief
said,
conversation.
you bring the porn? I said, yes, it was out in my car. I was going to get it in my car and go.
Right. What you need to understand is I maybe you don't realize it, but I know more than you think I know. I was at the house. I was there. I got in the car with you.
Right.
I watched everything as it unfolded. I watched you pull up to the house. Okay. I watched you get out of the car. I watched you walk into the house. I watched you make conversation with this boy who clearly does not look like he's 18 years old. As you just said, that he does not look like he's 18 years old.
I was not going to do it.
And I watched you make conversation with him, and I watched you talk to him. And what you're not, I don't want to call you a liar, because I don't want to get into that, but
anything sexual or anything like that.
I don't want to get into like this thing where you did an about face upon seeing Chris Hansen, not before. You didn't do an about face until you saw him.
When he asked me about the porn,
you guys were going to
as soon as he asked me about the porn,
talk and what have you.
That's not true. That's not true. As soon as he asked me about the porn, I said I was going to go get it. That's when Chris walked into the room, and I was going to turn myself around and walk right out.
You saw Chris turn around and you walked out.
Well, after I had the water, but I was going to. I gave him the water. He asked me about the porn, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to go out." And so I left it in the car. I'm going to go get it. And that's when Chris, as I was turning, that's when Chris walked into the room.
If this is all just a big mistake, a big misunderstanding, why go out the door? Why not? You know Chris. Why not address it? Why not say, "Hey, wait a minute, whoa, time out"? I thought it was meeting 18-year-olds.
There's no win. When you meet Chris Hansen in the kitchen, there's no win in this. And I have a reputation to uphold. You know, I'm a good guy. I support the police union. I know a lot of cops, a lot of fire guys, and this is not. I'm not who you think you're looking at. That's not so.
Here's the thing. I don't want there to be any misconceptions. Okay, people make mistakes every day on many levels.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
On many levels.
But
I think that's what you made today. But here's the problem. Moving forward, okay, moving forward from today, okay, you need to deal with this. And the way that you're choosing to deal with it is not meeting it head on. It's not taking care of the problem. It's not addressing the problem. It's throwing a blanket over the problem.
If I need to do something about it, I will.
And that's not helping you.
Well, then I will.
I
will get therapy
if you need to do something about it.
If.
You don't think it's...
I don't know. I have to be evaluated.
You don't think it's fair to say that maybe you do have a problem that should be addressed?
I don't know.
Just for your own well-being and obviously the well-being of others?
I'll get evaluated. I'll let a professional decide that.
I mean, because at the end of the day...
I'm a good guy. I'm a stand-up guy.
No one's saying you're not a good guy. You
I haven't done-
came in here with the cuffs off because you're doing it.
I haven't done anything wrong. I have not bothered the law at any time in my life, especially with regard to this. I wouldn't. It's against my beliefs. It's against a whole lot of reasons.
Okay.
That's really that's my life.
When you were slid over into the seat by the officers that took you into custody,
Yeah.
and then I sat down next to you,
Right.
before I could introduce myself, before I could say a word, do you remember what you said to me?
Is this gonna be on TV, something like that?
That wasn't the first thing. I
Um,
want you to think about sitting in the car, sliding over. What was the first thing that you remember saying to me?
the officer? It was a blow.
I would imagine it would be. You looked right at me, and you said, I was going to tell, the reason I came, I was going to tell this boy he shouldn't be doing this. I came here.
Yeah, as soon as I saw him, yeah.
No, you said, I came here to tell this boy that he shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
So if you thought you were meeting an 18-year-old boy
Even at 18.
for a consensual encounter, which you feel is totally okay, which in the grand scheme of things, based on legality, it is. But if that's the case, then what are you coming there for to tell a boy after having the conversation that you had that he shouldn't be doing this, if that's your goal? It doesn't make any sense. If you thought you were meeting an 18-year-old boy for a consensual encounter because you misread the number,
Right.
it doesn't make sense with your point of,
You still shouldn't
I
be.
came here to tell him
You
that
still shouldn't be
he
doing
shouldn't be doing this.
He still should be doing it. He represented his parents over the away for the weekend, and he was having people over, whatever.
Do you see how this is playing out? Do you see how this is the direction this is going? I mean, do you see? I mean, you've been charged. You're here. The things that you've said, and some of the sense that it's making and not making. I mean, can you see that through the blur of all this? Can you see it?
I could see what, the circumstance, but in terms of execution, never. Never have, never will.
As I explained to you, some of the next steps involved are going through your car and going through your phone. Your car is here. There's a couple different ways that we can do that. Okay?
There's nothing in my car.
We put all this together, and we apply for a search and seizure warrant, which is a piece of paper that gets signed by a judge that allows us to go through the car and search it and seize anything that may pertain to the charges that you're dealing with today. The other way to go about it is to ask you, man to man. You've indicated that there's nothing in the car that you have to worry about hiding. Is to have a form that's called a consent to search form. You sign the consent to search form. We go through the car. We finally find if there's nothing in there, like you say, nothing gets seized. If there is stuff in there, we'll call it quote-unquote evidence of these crimes, then we would seize it. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're interested in signing that form and going about that way, because you obviously indicate that you feel like you've done nothing wrong, and if there's nothing in the car that you have to be concerned with.
Correct.
If that's the case, that's the way that you could go, or you could choose and we can get a search warrant. But if you wanted to consent to search, I mean, you've been a gentleman, I figured I'd offer you that opportunity.
Yeah.
so I could get that.
Yeah.
The phone, because that's a little more involved, it involves, I'm going to call it technology to get into it and do things to it, and we have to hold on to it for a period of time. That we have to do a search warrant for, because that's not a quick process. It has to go to someone who knows how to, quote unquote, do that stuff.
That's my business. I know. Really difficult work.
I'm sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you related to that, but the phone is going to stay with us until that process takes place. We can do it as fast as we can, but again, that's not something that's done, very quickly. There's, phones can take a little bit to go through. There's a lot of apps to go through. There's communications to go through. There's stuff in the phone that gets deleted that people think is deleted, but in many cases it's still there in some capacity, and we're able to extract it. So because of the nature of that, a search warrant has to be applied for that. But a car is a relatively easy thing. You open up the doors, you open up the seat, that kind of thing. Is there any questions about any of this before I go retrieve that form that you want to iron out with me? Something maybe you want to try to explain differently, or something that I said that maybe you want to respond to, or I read you some things. Is there something in there that maybe you want me to refer back to read to you, or whatever? Is there anything at all that you want to talk about like that? Because I'm happy to do it. Look, this is an adversarial. I'm not looking down at you. I don't think that you're a bad person. I really don't. At the end of the day, I'm doing a job. My job is to investigate this, apply the applicable charges that work based on what's happened, and write a report on it, and it gets submitted to a judge.
And what's the process now after this?
After this, you've been charged. While you're here, a bond has to be determined, and the bond gets determined by the shift commander downstairs based on all that we have. There's a lot of factors now. Are you a resident? Are you someone that's from out of town? Do you have prior records? There's a lot that comes into that. The nature of the offense, the nature of the investigation, all that plays a role. When that number gets determined, we tell you what that number is. We allow you to make a call in an effort to get out of here, which is what everyone ultimately has to do, right? So you'll be afforded a phone call to address whatever the bond situation is. If you want to call someone to help you with that, if you want to call a bonds person, however you choose to go about that. So you can start thinking about that now. That would be the next step. If you're unable to make bond, okay, what we have today is presented. It's called a probable cause hearing. A judge reviews, what we have, and they decide, do we have enough to hold you? And if so, if it is decided that we have enough to hold you, then you would stay here for the remainder of the weekend and go to court first thing Monday morning. So that's the next day the court's in session. We're on the weekend right now. We don't have a night court or weekend court, so we'll have to wait till Monday. So if you're not released, you'd remain here. You go to court first thing Monday morning. You get arraigned. And at that point, the judge can decide to lower the bond, raise the bond, get rid of the bond completely. Typically, a public defender is available at that time unless you have an attorney that you can call right away and handle that part of it for you if you want. But typically, a public defender handles that first portion of it, the arraignment, and then from there, it gets decided, by you.
So much for the bond rate.
I honestly don't know. I don't want to misspeak on it. I don't want to shoot high or shoot low and be wrong. As soon as we know the exact number, I'll let you know. Okay. So why don't you sit here for one moment, collect your thoughts. I'm going to grab that form, explain to you, we'll fill it out, and then
We'll go do the car.
and then I'll get you downstairs and we can start the bond part of it. We can get that figured out. You have to be interviewed for that. The shift commander sits down with you, asks you some questions. That's all part of the
But you think I might be able to get out of here?
If you're able to make bond, as soon as you're able to make that happen, as soon as someone can come down here with the money required, they sign off on it, you're out here. Okay? Just hang loose for it.
And you got a little water?
When we get downstairs, we'll do it then, okay? All right, Charles, this is Detective Irizarry.
Okay.
She's just going to come in and witness the consent, that's all. So we need 2 people for that. So we're going to search your vehicle. It's a 2014 Jeep Wrangler Red, right?
Yeah.
And do you know your plate number? Can I get reg 6AFTJ5?
Yeah.
That's right, okay. And we're just going to search the vehicle and that's it?
Yeah.
Why don't you just do me a favor and read this down here first for me, please? And then if you decide to do so, you sign that. And you sign that. One thing I just want to confirm with you is we have a couple of addresses for you. We have some call history at Banks North, and then we also
Sold that.
You sold that. So what is your current address now?
The same one, 8 Plesco Place.
You sold? Well,
8 Pleszko.
and that's also. And where were you born? It's freezing up this borough.
There you go.
We're addressing the broad, so they tell us. Okay. And what was the final year of school you attended?
I got my master's at Fairfield. Graduate.
Okay, so this is taken care of. We're going to take care of this as soon as we can and get this done. If the vehicle gets moved off-site and put somewhere for any reason, we'll let you know. But a lot of that's going to depend on whether or not you need bond and what have you. If you're going to be staying here, typically what we've been doing is we have the cars towed off-site so they're somewhere safe and secure, and you can get them later. If it appears that you're going to be getting bonded up, then the car will remain here, and the car will be able to take that home, depending on what we find and what have you.
My cooperation.
Your cooperation plays a major role in the setting of the bond. Yes, it does, because when we go downstairs, you're going to hear us, and one of the first things I tell the sergeant downstairs. So with that, is there anything else that you want to address? Now is kind of a good time to do it. Kind of a good time to get it out if you want to, is relating to the messages I read to you, relating to the situation as a whole. Is there anything that you feel like that you haven't said, or maybe a question I haven't asked that you want, out there that, I should know?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Can you see how we arrived?
Yeah, I can see how I can.
To where we are?
Yeah, I can see that.
You understand it and you can see that?
Yeah, I can see that. The way it can be read and the way it can be taken, yes.
Okay.
But,
All right.
And you was out of my attention.
And you promised that, at some point, you'll go speak with a professional who will evaluate
Yes.
this, and in the event that there's an issue that you need to address,
Yes.
that you will do that.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not an expert as it, but in law enforcement, you kind of trained in a lot of different areas, as maybe you would know. That would be my advice too. I think that's a road that you should consider going down, based on the way that this is kind of played out and the information that we have access to. I think it's something you should strongly consider. Okay. All right. So I'm going to walk you down, and we're going to move on to the next
Can I get
step.
mine put it back?
Yeah. Well, it may not have the drawstring there like we thought. But now we don't. But we're going to go back downstairs where we came from.